And we are live.
This is the Vegan Anarchists, and we're live to cover the presidential debate.
And today we are going to do a reaction to the first debate, the first United States presidential debate of 2016. It's going to be fun. We're within 5 minutes away from it, I believe. Under 5 minutes, 4 minutes 30 to go, people. So, what do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win?
I think it's going to be a shit fest.
Oh, wow, it is. Two most hated candidates in history, almost. It's going to be interesting. Will Clinton use techniques to attack Trump, which is what she should do? Or will she just try and glorify and say, let's break down the barriers, yay!
Now you share screen, okay?
Shall I?
Yeah.
Alright then.
This is not an easy job, so I'm going to ask your help tonight. You heard the admonition. If you could please refrain from clapping and booing or reacting in any audible way, that would make my job a lot easier.
Yeah, fuck you. We're going to react.
Yeah, we're going to fuck you. Not fuck you, literally, but yeah.
So what's going to follow are some awkward moments of silence. I'm going to take my seat here in my office for the evening, and I'll give you a 1 minute warning when we're about to come up on the air. And then no fancy lights or musical opens. We just go to it. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the debate.
Oh, fuck's sake. Here we go, then. It's going to be interesting. Wait, what fucking happened? What?
What?
Idea?
What
like
happened?
Are they going to stop it until it starts up?
Weird. Yeah.
All right. I think that's what they're doing. So.
What?
What the fuck, man?
Just refresh. Maybe the internet went down. Oh wait, why?
I don't know what's going on here. No videos. What the fuck are they on about?
What? The hell? Let me look.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on, I better fucking find it.
It's by copyright claim.
What that is it?
Yeah, it's because of copyright claim. They pulled it out of the air because I gotta like demonetize it so I don't have to worry about copyright claim.
Never mind, got it back up. Yes.
Try and monetize this video because I don't want to worry about copyright claims. So I'm just gonna demonetize it.
Minimize that when he needs
What?
to. Unclear. The same goes for
well, the thing is, it's going to be under critique and
yeah.
All the time.
We're reacting to it. And no, we're not just sitting there while the video plays and we get views. No. Holy shit. This is going to be close. Less than 2 minutes to go.
American Anarchist wants to be in the stream.
Oh yeah, let him. Ross, you're welcome, man. Hey, Ross, you coming in, man?
I'm inviting him right now.
Okay.
Particularly in these final moments, how much of this is about opening statements? I mean, how much did they prepare those opening statements? Well, I think both campaigns, if they're preparing correctly, know what they want to do when they get out.
Sup, Ross?
The first plays are with the languages. It's very important.
I'm ready to react to this debate.
Yep, we're gonna react to it live.
There's a lot of folks who are
It's gonna be good, man.
on this campaign.
It's gonna be good.
Live, I saw it on YouTube.
Almost immediately, the winner is going to be there was something that John F. Kennedy did against Richard Nixon.
Can you guys hear me just fine?
Yeah. I think what I should do is like we should both, well, except for Ann, come just do the camera shut off so we can properly watch the debate in all its glory.
15 minutes that we had lost the debate against Mitt Romney because the media reaction and the punditry were pounding us on Twitter, and we knew
Yeah,
what
so
the
close.
spin was going to be off of
Fuck,
this
they're just
debate.
gonna walk on stage anytime now.
Oh my goodness, yes, yeah. We were glum in our room 15 minutes in. So, the beginning is very, very important.
I think they're each going to
Let's make it clear, we all hate both candidates.
Yeah, we fucking hate them both.
on something like
We're gonna invite Bobby.
Of course, I personally think Trump is worse.
I don't give a shit who's worse. I just find them two both shitty ass candidates.
out. I would think.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to do it immediately in this day and age.
But I mean, when it comes to liberal versus alt-right, I'd rather deal with the liberal.
To the White House and
Because
Well,
the liberal
I don't
has
know
some
what-
grasp.
some of the same cards that were successful in that season. It will also have to be
I don't
fair
know what Trump is gonna be though.
what voters they still need to react.
It's really hard predicting what Trump is gonna be.
Percent of folks who are undecided.
He changes his mind so much.
Well, there's no way he can be worse than his rhetoric.
Their supporters, so they've got to tailor their messages to them. I think one of the things that Hillary Clinton has often been good at in these debates is she brings some new fact about her opponent. She did that very often with Bernie Sanders on guns, on the auto bailout, often putting the other person back.
Look at him shill for Hill.
Her campaign has been millions and
One
millions
thing I would
doing
look
that.
for is one thing I would look for is whether Donald Trump tries to
Shill
introduce
for Hill.
some self-deprecating humor, which I think
Well, I mean, these are all people who simply argue on like conservative and liberal grounds and don't argue anywhere like
really wants to
like
make
you don't even get Green Party or Libertarian like
It's
people.
because the debates are run by the Democrat and Republican Party together, so
Yep.
they have to keep the duopoly.
you could lose your
It's
staff.
going to be interesting this because all
Remember,
this,
there's only two sides, folks.
The chaos.
all this,
That's what they try. That's what they try to paint this as, but it's really like the anarchists are going to disagree with the liberals are going to disagree with the democratic socialists, the social democrats are going to disagree with the democratic socialists. Like,
yeah, when
there's so many different views. Like, the tankies are just the worst, though. Well, actually, no. The only thing worse than the tankies are the alt-right.
And the fascists, but they're pretty much fascists by now.
The manner that doesn't alienate
They're just fascism under a new cover.
Mhm.
Donald Trump
The only
has
problem is when we talk, we can't really hear the debate. So what do we do about that?
keep those white men who don't have a college
Can you hear all right?
his core constituency.
Yes, until I talk.
We're not staunchly in either camp. You know, we saw the Washington Post poll
No.
yesterday. 18% of voters said they might change their mind based on tonight's debate. That is nearly 1/5 of people watching this, and this is where both candidates have
Let me go to where Wolf Blitzer is standing by. The debate is about to begin. And the debate is
I'm
Oh,
going
Wolf
slowly
Blitzer.
except for Anton's volume, so it'll be a little, you can hear it better.
Yeah,
Wolf Blitzer, the most boring man on earth.
Wolf Blitzer.
according to polls, has a
I
slight
like his name. His name's pretty cool. But the man himself fucking empty as shit.
number is as where are they going? And Donald Trump is the biggest night of this campaign. It's been 18 months in the making. Donald Trump has the momentum right now, so this debate right now could allow Hillary Clinton to stop his momentum, or it could allow Donald Trump to surpass her in some of those key battleground states.
and Wolf, it probably should go without
I
saying.
got comments. The majority of the U.S. population are still dumb zombies believing the vote matters.
First
The
time
vote cup is for Goldman Sachs, which is true. Any other says it's just theater. Obama would say he would close Guantanamo is still open. It's theater, basically. It's just theater. The debate is nothing more than just
Political
pure
theater.
University in Hempstead,
Political theater.
Lester Holt, anchor of NBC Nightly News. I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate. The participants tonight are Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. The commission drafted tonight's format, and the rules have been agreed to by the campaigns. The 90-minute debate
You
is
know what's funny about CNN is how much they actually lean conservative,
areas tonight, achieving
despite
America's direction.
despite not favoring either side when it comes to Democrat versus Republican.
I will ask
When
the
it comes to the reality things, they always try to present that
to
the
respond.
conservatives have an argument even when they don't.
We'll have an
Like, I'm
open
all right with putting conservative arguments out there, like if there's actual conservative arguments and not just
here in the room as we read
these people denying stuff that's proven.
candidates are saying. I will invite you to applaud, however, at this moment as we welcome the candidates. Democratic nominee for President of the United States, Hillary Clinton, and Republican
I'm gonna
nominee.
demonetize this so I don't have to worry about copyright. Well, I still would have to, but
And here the fuckers are. Oh my god, look at that shit-eating grin.
So, Ancom, considering the fact that you're
Look at
British,
Hillary eating bread. That's so fake.
I want to ask you something real quick, Ancom. So, since you're
Yeah,
British, like, where exactly do they play?
It's gonna be fucking taken down and all.
Do they play do they do any kind of political debates in Britain when it comes
Yeah,
to
they
like
do.
elections? So do they air those on the BBC, on the British Broadcasting Channel? Because I know that BBC is supposed to be apolitical and it's publicly funded.
This evening belongs to
I'm worried that I'm gonna get a copyright strike on this, even though this is commentary.
you articulate your policies and your positions,
Okay.
as well as your visions and your values.
You can always appeal that. I had my Davis O'Reilly bid appealed.
Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. There are two economic realities in America today. There's been a record 6 straight years of job growth, and new census numbers show incomes have increased at a record rate after years of stagnation. However, income
This is my second hangout today. I did a hangout with Christy Winters and Demotivator Opinion
better choice than
on
your
Bearing.
kinds of jobs.
You're friendly, am I?
More money.
The problem is when we talk, we can't really hear the debate very well.
For hosting us.
Well, the debate hasn't quite started yet. Right now, it's just people talking before the debate.
The debate is on right now.
Build together. Today is my granddaughter's 2nd birthday, so I think about this. First, we have to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. That means we need new jobs, good jobs with rising incomes. I want us to invest in you. I want us to invest in your future. That means jobs in infrastructure, in advanced manufacturing,
Look at Trump's face.
renewable energy, and small business, because most of the new jobs will come from small business. We also have to make the economy fairer. That starts with raising the national minimum wage and also guaranteeing
your realistic exploiter with a longer leash.
Work. I also want to see more companies do profit sharing. If you help create the profits, you should be able to share in them, not just the executives at the top. And I want us to do more to support people who
socialism shall win
at work. I've heard from so many of you
some
about
aspects
the
of socialism there.
you face and the stresses that you're under.
Of course, you don't believe it.
Family leave, earn sick days.
She's a corporate shell like everyone else.
Childcare and debt-free college.
She might throw a teeth, you can tell.
Can we just laugh at that face that Donald Trump has? Like,
yeah, let's give us some time. Face of Donald Trump.
The stage together, Donald Trump and I. Donald, it's good to be with you. We're going to have a debate where we are talking about the important issues facing our country. You have to judge us. Who can shoulder the immense, awesome responsibility of the presidency? Who can put into action the plans that will make your life better? I hope that I will be able to earn your vote on November 8th.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump, the same question to you. It's about putting more money in the pockets of American workers. You have up to 2 minutes. Thank you,
That guy wants to lower wages.
Fleeing the country. They're going to Mexico. They're going to many other countries. You look at what China is doing.
The rapists, the murderers.
They're devaluing their currency.
Some of them, I assume, are good people.
And we have a very good fight, and we have a winning fight, because they're using our country as a piggy bank to rebuild China, and many other countries are doing the same thing. So we're losing our good jobs, so many of them. When you look at what's happening in Mexico,
all thanks to you. Hire
Mexicans
to build your skyscrapers, you piece of shit.
It was both of us' fault.
Best plans.
The ball.
Yes, as you said.
Mention the border is not to stop immigration. Most immigration happens from planes, even immigrants from Mexico. And so what's your solution? The fucking dome?
Healthcare is concerned, and so many other things.
Nobody can get in.
We probably disagree a little bit as to numbers and amounts and what we're going to do, but perhaps we'll be talking about that later. But we have to stop our jobs from being stolen from us. We have to stop our companies from leaving the United States, and with it, firing all of their people. All you have to do is air conditioning. In Indianapolis, they fired 1,400 people. They're going to Mexico. So many, hundreds and hundreds of companies are doing this. We cannot let it happen. Under my plan, I'll be reducing taxes tremendously. 35% for companies, small and big businesses. That's going to be a job creator like we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. Companies will come, they will build, they will expand.
Donald Trump didn't, I mean,
and I look very, very much
Reagan didn't create jobs. He practically ruined the economy.
These countries
helped ruin
our companies and our jobs. Secretary Clinton, would you like to respond?
Not jobs.
I think that trade is an important issue. Of course, we are 5% of the world's population. We have to trade with the other 95%. And we need to have...
Something's wrong with my phone, so...
We also, though, need to have a tax system that rewards work and not just financial transactions. And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percents of the people in this country that we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down, because that's exactly what it would be. That is not how we grow the economy. We just have a different view about what's best for growing the economy, how we make investments that will actually produce jobs and rising incomes. I think we come at it from somewhat different perspectives. I understand that. You know, Donald was very fortunate in his life, and that's all to his benefit. He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his father, and he really believes that the more you help wealthy people, the better off we'll be, and then everything will work out from there. I don't buy that. I have a different experience. My father was a small businessman. He worked really hard. He printed tables on long tables where he pulled out those fabrics and he went down with a silk screen and dumped the paint in and took the squeegee and kept going. And so what I believe is the more we can do for the middle class, the more we can invest in you, your education, your skills, and the better we will be off and the better we'll grow. That's the kind of economy I want us to see again.
Let me follow up with Mr. Trump again. You've talked about creating 25 million jobs, and you've promised to bring back millions of jobs for Americans. How are we going to bring back the industries that have left this country for cheaper labor overseas? How specifically are you going to tell American manufacturers that you have to come back? Well, for one thing, and before we start on that, my father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars with some of the greatest assets in the world. And I said, that our country needs. Our country's in deep trouble.
He got $500 million when his dad passed away.
When it comes to devaluations and all of these countries all over the world, especially China, they're the best ever at it. What they're doing to us is a very, very sad thing. So we have to do that. We have to renegotiate our trade deals. And Lester, they're taking our jobs, they're giving incentives, they're doing things that frankly we don't do. Let me give you the example of Mexico. They have a VAT tax, we're in a different system. When we sell into Mexico, there's a tax. When they sell it automatic, 16% approximately.
Do you mean VAT, you fucking idiot?
No tax.
You know where he pulled these numbers from?
Where?
But the politicians,
I don't know, but you call VAT VAT. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yes? Is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me. But in all fairness to Secretary Clinton...
Yeah, sorry, my phone crashed as badly as this economy.
Very recently, she's been doing this for 30 years. And why hasn't she made the agreements better? The NAFTA agreement is defective just because of the tax and many other reasons, but just because of the fact. Let me interrupt this a moment. Secretary Clinton and others, politicians, should have been doing this for years, not right now because of the fact
populism.
They should have been doing this for years. What's happened to our jobs and our country and our economy generally is, look, we owe $20 trillion. We cannot do it any longer, Lester. Back to the question, though, how do you specifically bring back jobs, American manufacturers? How do you make them bring the jobs back? Well, the first thing you do is don't let the jobs leave. The companies are leaving. There are thousands of them. They're leaving, and they're leaving in bigger numbers than ever. And what you do is you say, fine, You want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck. But if you think you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or your cookies or whatever you make and bring them into our country without a tax, you're wrong. And once you say you're going to have to tax them coming in, and our politicians,
I'm going to slap on them,
because they have special interests, and the special interests want those.
which he's obviously not.
In many cases, they own the companies. So what
If he
I'm
was,
saying,
I might respect him, but
stop them from leaving. We have to stop them from leaving, and that's a big, big factor. Let me let Secretary Clinton.
Well,
you're wearing Mr. Trump. That was made in made in China.
8 years ago, we had the worst financial crisis, the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s. That was in large
Her
part
husband helped cause it.
that slash taxes on the
Oh yeah,
wealthy,
when he
invest, middle class,
he repealed Glass-Steagall with the Grand Leach
and
Act.
a perfect storm. In fact, Donald was one of the people who rooted for the housing crisis. He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, but
Yep, typical
Let's go
capitalist.
business.
lost their jobs. 5
Business
million people lost their homes at
Now
13
he's gonna say that did not happen.
was wiped out.
That did not happen. And he's going to use his finger like that, like I
This.
just
And
did.
it has not been easy. So we're now on the precipice of having a potentially much better economy. But the last thing we need to do
Sure, capitalism is going to collapse again. Trust me, or us.
is in the first place.
Economists are back
Capitalism
us.
is prone to economic disasters.
It looked at what Donald's proposed, and basically
Somewhat with social democracy.
tax plan, which would
Yeah, but the social democrats are practically becoming capitalists again. Well, they're still capitalists, becoming more capitalists.
disadvantage middle class families compared to the
Well, I
wealthy.
mean, compare Bernie Sanders to FDR when it comes to taxes. Oh, even to
And maybe have another recession.
and to conservatives.
And okay,
He
we
taxed
intend to get
Sanders pension tax.
10 million more new jobs because we will be making investments where we can grow the economy. Take clean energy.
Like Goldman Sachs, people.
Superpower of the 21st century. Donald thinks
I
that
know coal and pay a $5 billion fine.
science is
I do not say that.
and I think that we grip
Lying
this
again.
and
Jail
deal
for 10 years.
at home and abroad. And here's what we can do. We can deploy 500 million more solar panels. We can have enough clean energy to power every home. We can build a new modern electric grid. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of new economic activity.
Yes,
So
you can under a socialist system.
about what we can and should do,
God,
and I
he's
am
doing the right
determined
thing at the
that
moment.
we're going to get the economy really moving again. Building on the progress,
You know what? Her rhetoric is on point.
going back to what got us in trouble
But
in the
it's rhetoric and it's not bad.
Solar panel. We invested in a solar company, our country. That was a disaster. They lost plenty of money on that one. Now, look, I'm a great believer in all forms of energy, but we're putting a lot of people out of work. Our energy policies are a disaster. Our country is losing so much in terms of energy, in terms of paying off our debt. You can't do what you're looking to do with 20 trillion in debt. The Obama administration, from the time they've come in, is over 230 years worth of debt, and he's topped it. He's doubled it in a course of almost 8 years, 7.5 years to be semi-exact. So I will tell you this, we have to do...
Except he actually hasn't doubled it. We're not that much in debt either.
Also, Trump's lying again.
Giving
He always lies.
to build real companies.
I'm gonna cut the deficit down below $1 trillion when it was almost
Look at Ohio.
down to like $500 billion at this point.
There's so
No one's
many
going to
there
fact check him all day.
their jobs and their
They're not
companies.
going to fact check him in the debate.
And Hillary, I just ask you this:
Make a fact checking.
doing this,
But our job is just to fact check these people.
Yeah.
these solutions right now. For 30 years, you've been doing it.
What's happened to you?
What happened?
Did the wipe off another one?
Powering up, maybe take a few minutes. Oh my god, what the hell happened?
I don't know.
Was our debate? Maybe it's my turn.
I'm going to get another one. Crook is here. Okay, this will do.
230 years worth of debt. And in a course of almost 8 years, 7.5 years to be semi-exact. So I will tell you this, we have to do a much better job at keeping our jobs. And we have to do a much better job at giving companies incentive to build new companies or to expand, because they're not
Well,
doing
you can see the means of production.
Michigan. I look at Ohio.
Yeah, man.
I look at all of these places where so many of their
Support socialism.
jobs and their companies are just leaving. They're gone. And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this.
God, give the means of production to.
Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well,
I will bring back jobs. You can't bring back jobs.
Well, actually,
Sure.
I have thought about this
No
quite a
one
bit.
can bring back those jobs. Those jobs have already been shipped over. You're not just going to pull, you're not going to just suddenly say, oh yeah, I can
We can make it work again.
Well,
We
you
can create new jobs.
You
Yeah.
can if you
People in
see the
America
means
do
of
it.
production.
Incomes went up for everybody. Manufacturing jobs went up
Well, no, because
for
still end up making ties.
I
But
have
not.
a trade
Uh-huh.
deal for
In
me.
America, you're not going to be bringing them back.
Will they create jobs in America? Will they raise incomes in America? And are they good for our national security? Some of them I voted for. The biggest one, a multinational one known as CAPTA, I voted against. And because I hold the same standards as I look
Cherry
at
pick.
They both say they're going to leave the TPP. They both say they're going to leave the TPP, but I don't believe either of them,
challenge we have
considering the fact that both of them were pro-TPP.
part of it, and I've said
Hillary was pushing out.
Hillary benefits from
we're
China.
going to enforce the trade
There
deals
you go.
we have, and we're going to hold people accountable. When I was secretary,
Trump also is from China.
increased American
Also supported Hillary in the past in 2008 against Obama.
50%. So I know how to really work to get new jobs and to get exports that help to create more new jobs.
Right, well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well, I've been a senator.
You haven't done it.
And
You haven't done
I have been a
And
secretary of
excuse
state, and I have
Your
done.
husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened.
Well, that's your
Word.
opinion. That is your
You
opinion.
go to New England, you go to Ohio,
It
Pennsylvania,
was the worst. It was tremendous.
and you will see
Tremendous.
manufacturers down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal
30,
maybe
40, sometimes 50.
signed in this country. Now, you want to improve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that debate. But you know that if
She
you did
changed the
win,
rhetoric because of Sanders, but you know what? Forget about that.
nothing will
She
ever
should go on the
happen.
attack.
Sure.
I mean, Donald Trump stole so much of his rhetoric from Sanders, like when it came to the stuff about raising the
No, you're not.
And you called it the gold
Trump
standard.
was like, we need to lower the national
Wait, did
minimum
he
wage.
say gold standard?
Finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about
Angry
it. Now,
Bastards did a good video on the gold standard and about why it's bullshit.
It's not the facts. The facts are, I hoped it would be a good deal, but when it was negotiated, which I was not responsible
Okay, she's
for,
The
fucking
reason they got rid of the gold standard was because it actually was beneficial to get rid of it.
President Obama's fault.
even announced, look, there are
Secretary, is it President
Here's what you should do,
Obama's
Hillary.
fault?
Push him on it. Say that he benefits from TPP. Say he wants it as well.
Well, they can't win because they're both hypocrites in that issue.
It's important to look at what we need to do to
What's
get
the
the
right to
economy
respond to
moving.
him?
Well, of course they're both hypocrites.
Jobs with rising incomes, investments, not in more tax cuts that would add $5 trillion to the debt.
But you have no plan.
Educate. Oh, I do.
Secretary, you have no plan.
A book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up
That's about all you
at the bookstore.
Probably bullshit.
Near
I
you.
know you guys can't see my mouth moving, but
I see this. We need to have strong growth, fair growth, sustained growth. We also have to
Well,
look
growth is putting the ecosystem at stake, so that's a bad thing.
at home and the responsibilities of business. So we have a very robust set of plans, and people who have looked at both of our plans have concluded that mine would create 10 million jobs and yours would lose us 3.5 million jobs and
You
explode
are
the
going
debt.
to approve one of the biggest tax cuts in history. You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history. You are
You
going to
say tax
drive
cuts at
business
first?
out.
I thought he did. Yeah, I know. It's weird.
He did.
Regulations all over the place.
As much as we all hate conservative and liberal politics, liberal politics have a history of
tremendous numbers of new jobs, but regulations. You are going to regulate.
Conservative
Liberalism is
politics are.
bad for us because it makes people more complacent.
I've been all over, and when I go around, despite the
And
tax,
conservatives, yeah,
the business and said people
to whether people are
that I'm cutting
better
regulations.
off health-wise and better off in their life in general, not talking about like complacency.
All companies are going out of business, and you want to increase the regulations and make them
Obama created well, Bush lost them.
going to cut taxes big league, and you're going to raise taxes big league. End of story. Let me get you to pause right there, because we're
Yes.
moving to the next segment.
Donald Trump, where are you going to make those tax cuts?
I kind of assumed that there would be a lot
The
of
rich should be paying more. Tax cuts for the lower amount of the population, that'll mean
page of my website.
We should just seize the means of production. That's my goal.
So if you want to see real time, what the
that's the only way you could achieve a socialist
Ryan also.
not
team,
adding
much rather than
and your plans would add $5 trillion to the debt. What I have proposed would cut regulations and streamline them for small businesses. What I have proposed
Actually, she
would
does
be
want to
paid
do that.
for
That's not a fucking good
by
thing.
raising taxes on the wealthy because they have made all the gains in the economy.
They have
And
to.
wealthy and corporations paid their fair share to support business.
Well, you just opened the next segment. Well, look, and I just said this.
Way to go.
I think I should. Go to her website. Take a look at her website. She's going to raise taxes $1.3 trillion. And look at her website. You know what? It's no different than this. She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much. The next segment will continue.
Well, at least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
Oh, and he does. He's
We're not.
Get wrecked.
No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
That's go to the police, the fact checkers. Get
We're unpacking a lot here, and we're still on the issue of achieving prosperity. And I want to talk about the taxes. The fundamental difference between the two of you concerns the
it's
wealthy.
not like Hillary's probably going to do the same thing too when it comes down to it.
And that in Mr. Trump.
Right.
No, she's not, which is illegal extrajudicial
Well, I'm really calling for major
to
jobs, because the wealthy are going to create tremendous jobs. They're going to expand their.
bourgeois. That's what he's
she's
saying.
not going to change foreign policy.
And if you really look, it's not a tax. It's really not a thing for the wealthy. It's for middle class. It's a great thing for companies to expand. And when these people are going to put billions and billions of dollars into companies, and when they're going to bring $2.5 trillion back from overseas, when they can't bring the money back because politicians like Secretary Clinton won't allow them to bring the money back because the taxes are so onerous and the bureaucratic red tape. So what is so
Well, actually, if you include the corporate tax rate, not nominally, but the when they actually pay, a lot of corporations get a net tax subsidy or pay almost nothing in taxes at worst.
He's just advocating for fucking Reaganomics.
That's what it is, just pure and simple.
to get their money.
For
Except for
more
like
Thatcherite politics.
Because the bureaucratic
He's
red
arguing for more Thatcherite economics.
president
He's a
But
good
Thatcher
choice for
managed
people.
and get them to approve something. And here's the thing.
Thatcher managed to increase poverty during an oil boom. That should be looked at as an economic failure, but
Trickle down
as an economic genius.
For fuck's sake.
And when the little
If you're an accelerationist, Trump is your guy. Him or Gary Johnson.
Luckily, I don't think our acceleration isn't worse, so
we have no leadership.
just
And
don't.
honestly, that starts with
People will line up and
Tempting.
go,
If acceleration worked, the election of Hitler should have made Germany a much better.
I feel like my opinions seem they are to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? You know, just
Because Germany didn't fall into socialism or anarchism in any way.
things. Now,
True.
Something crazy
is
about not letting our companies.
It fell under a right-wing dictatorship.
Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, let's start with you, Lester. We've looked at your tax proposals. I don't see changes in the corporate tax rates or the kinds of proposals you're referring to that would cause the repatriation, bringing back of money that's stranded overseas. I happen to.
What's funny is that these conservatives want to increase taxes on everybody in the lower class, but they want to cut the taxes of upper class as low as possible.
What is called now the Trump loophole, because it would so advantage you and the business you do. You proposed an approach that has a $4 billion tax benefit for your family. And when you look at what you are proposing, it is, as I said, trumped up trickle down. Trickle down did not work. It got us into the mess we were in 2008 and 9. Slashing taxes on the wealthy hasn't worked, and
yeah, because your husband was really
people know that.
Hillary.
We need to do more to make the contributions we should be making.
She's right.
I don't think top-down works in America. I think building the middle class, investing in the middle class.
No, we must have the working class and the lumpen proletariat seize the means of production.
Taxpayers. Those are the kinds of things that will really boost the economy. Broad-based, inclusive growth is what we need in America, not more advantages for people at the very top.
I feel like I'm going to get more substance from War Corps tomorrow in our debate than I am getting from this debate. Oh yeah. Did you hear about that, Tom?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Like Secretary Clinton have made such bad decisions in terms of our jobs and in terms of what's going on. Now look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now.
Yeah,
and the only thing
true.
Yeah, we're in a bubble that Obama inflated because he decided to continue the Reagan and trickle-down economics of Bill Clinton and the New Democrats, along with the Republicans.
Of the Fed.
The higher education bubble is going to pop soon.
Interest rates at this level, and believe me, the day Obama goes off and he leaves and he goes out to the golf course for the rest of his life to play golf, when they raise interest rates, you're going to see some very bad things happen because the Fed is not doing their job. The Fed is being more political than Secretary Clinton. Mr. Trump,
Well, the Fed can't really help given the dynamics within capitalism.
The reason nominees have released their returns for decades is that voters will know if their potential president owes money to, who owes it to, and any business conflicts. Don't Americans have a right to know if there are any conflicts of interest?
I think the fact that Hillary pointed out that Trump has no plan was a good strategy.
When it's finished, it'll be released. But you will learn more about Donald Trump by going down to the federal elections, where he filed a 104-page, essentially financial statement of sorts, the forms that they have. It shows income. In fact, the income, I just looked today, the income is filed at $694 million for this past year. $694 million.
That's totally bullshit. I don't believe it.
That 15 or 20 years ago, I would have been very surprised. But that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. When we have a country that's doing so badly, that's being...
Have you ever seen the Jimmy Fallon parody of Donald Trump?
World, it's the kind of...
139 billion agree. Or no, it was...
We have a trade deficit.
7.2 billion agree.
Of almost
7.8 billion agree, and then it's like, where did you get that number? From 9 trillion.
We have people that are political hacks negotiating on trade deals.
And that is 140% true. Or my name isn't Barack Hussein Omarosa.
So the question, does the public have the right to know of where your personal... Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit... Look, almost for 15 years.
Bullshit.
I know a lot of wealthy people that have never been audited. I said, you get audited? I get audited almost every year.
Because you're lying.
I don't mind it. It's almost become a way of life. I get audited by the IRS. But other people don't.
Full of shit.
I will say this. We have a
situation. The IRS has come out and said that they are not auditing Trump. Yet Trump keeps lying and saying he's being audited.
Wishes.
It's an easy way around. It's easy. It's an easy workaround.
Emails that have been deleted. As soon as
Even
she-
then,
Bring up Hillary's emails.
I will
Oh,
release
yeah.
my tax return.
No, you won't.
And that's against my lawyers. They say don't do it. I will tell you this. No, in fact, watching shows, reading the papers, almost every lawyer says you don't release your returns until the audit's complete. When the audit's complete, I'll do it. But I would go against them if she releases her. So it's negotiable? It's not negotiable. No, let her release the. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her answer that, but let me just admonish the audience one more time. There was an agreement. We did ask you to be silent, so it would be helpful for us. Secretary Clinton.
when I'm done,
Well, I
I say whatever I want,
Rich here.
and no one calls me on it.
For 40 years, everyone
Jeez, he's worse than
has
me in the
released their
debate.
tax returns. You can go and see.
At least I stay silent when my opponent's talking.
Our tax returns, but everyone has done it. We know the IRS has made clear there is no prohibition on releasing it when you're under audit. So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. First,
Because he has less than $1 billion.
second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be.
Yep.
Third, we don't know all of his business dealings, but we have been told through investigative reporting that he owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks. He doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for
Fuck
schools.
the troops, fuck the vets.
And I
Fuck the
think
schools.
probably he's not all that enthusiastic about having the rest of our country see what the real reasons are, because it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And the financial
Oh, I'll be
disclosure,
right back. Wait, I'll wait till the commercial.
all the
All right.
details that
Don't
tax
wait till that.
returns would,
When's
and
the commercial gonna be on?
that this is something
Dunno.
that the American people deserve to see, and I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns, because
Correct.
there's something he's hiding. And we'll guess. We'll keep guessing at what it might be that he's hiding. But I think the question is, were he
Look at
ever
his face.
near the White House, what would be those conflicts? Who does he owe money to? Well, he owes you the answers to that, and he should provide them.
He also raised the issue of your emails. Do you want to respond to that?
I do. You know, I made a mistake using a private email,
That's his shoe.
and if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently.
No mention of the server.
But I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I'll take responsibility for that.
That was more than a mistake. That was done purposely. That was not a mistake. That was done purposely. When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth, I think it's disgraceful.
She's trying to dodge the server, ain't she?
Thinks it's disgraceful.
They're both corrupt as, so we should even be.
I actually agree with it. I agree with the Fifth Amendment, the idea that you have the right to not incriminate yourself.
Me too.
I don't know anything about that because I'm not
I
American.
also agree. Yeah. Also, as anarchists, we all agree with the Fourth Amendment, which is the
Protection from unreasonable search and seizure.
You know more
Exactly.
than most Americans do, Anton.
Question.
Huh?
They said in the same.
You know more than a lot of Americans. Congrats.
I do.
To be honest with you, but the
I just didn't know what
Yeah.
the fifth.
which the Fourth Amendment has been violated by the NSA so much. It's just been raped.
It's meaningless by now.
They've ripped it to pieces. It's non-existent. It might as well have been repealed by an amendment.
The only
Patriot
amendment
Act.
to the US is the Second Amendment.
And the reason I say that is not in a
Second Amendment. My gun.
Yeah, I like gun rights because even Karl Marx says that the working class should not be disarmed, and all attempts to disarm the working class should be met with force if necessary.
Oh, so goes that lies.
Our airports are like from a third world country. You landed LaGuardia, you landed Kennedy, you landed LAX, you landed Newark, and you come in from Dubai and Qatar, and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these incredible airports.
And
I wonder when he's going to say, like, the Sharia, like, that the Shias and the Sunnis, like, he's just going to get them mixed up. He's like, we're under threat from Iran. Actually, no, we're not. Iran has nothing to do with ISIS. Iran is Shia. The Sunni.
It's like it's $6 trillion.
ISIS hates the Shiites. The Shiites.
And it's politicians like Secretary Clinton that have caused this problem.
Like Saudi Arabia is worse than Iran in that case, where it's like Iran, we're not under direct threat from them in America.
Tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals, and we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
And maybe because you haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And
Damn.
if your main
The
plan
Don.
is President of the United
He's
States,
Teflon Don.
then I think we should talk about that. You know, your campaign manager said that you built a lot of businesses on the backs of little guys. And indeed, I have met a lot of the people who were stiffed by you and your businesses, Donald.
True.
Dishwashers, painters.
Well, not to mention he used a whole bunch of Polish illegal immigrants to build Trump Tower.
Crawlers,
Let's
like
not forget that.
who you refused to pay when
Come
they
on, bring up
finished
Trump
the work
University.
that you asked them
Do
to
it.
do. We have an
Oh,
architect
the vicious scam that no one will set a foot near.
in front of your golf courses. It's a beautiful facility.
It was literally run by someone who was convicted as a con artist.
But the man needed to be paid what he was charging you.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, and I was
Well,
unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do.
The thousands of people that you have stiffed over the course of your business not deserve some kind of apology from someone who has taken their labor, taken the goods that they produced, and then refused to pay them. I can only say that
Oh, it sounds like capitalism.
Yeah.
never did business with you.
It's almost like she turned into Karl Marx for a second.
Life for us, but the people he worked for,
Just saying.
he expected the bargain to be kept on both sides. And when we talk about your business, you've taken business bankruptcy 6 times. There are a lot of great business people that have never taken bankruptcy once. You call yourself the king of debt. You talk about leverage. You even at one time suggested that you would try to negotiate down the national debt of the United States. Well,
Wrong. You're lying.
correct
Lying Ted. Wait, that's the wrong person.
from business,
Terror's done.
but sometimes
Look at Hillary.
business would be really bad for government.
That's what the-
And we need
So,
to
yeah, I think
be
it's- I
very
do think
clear
it's-
about that.
Look, it's all words, it's all sound bites. I built an unbelievable company, some of the greatest assets in the
Yeah.
world, real estate assets.
The greatest. It was huge. It was tremendous.
It's an unbelievable
Believe me.
company. But
Yeah, just
When you
take his
believe me,
word.
I say no thank you. Fuck off.
laws that are there, and when Secretary Clinton talks about people that didn't get paid, first of all, they did get paid a lot, but taking advantage of the laws of the nation. Now, if you want to change the laws, you've been there a long time, change the laws. But I take advantage of the laws of the nation because I'm running a
So in
company.
other words, I admit I'm a scumbag.
Well, for myself, my family, my employees, for my companies, and that's what I do. But what she doesn't
He's a
say,
typical bourgeois fuck and a corrupt politician.
unbelievably happy and that love me. I'll give you an example.
He's a stereotypical bourgeois American.
It goes back to the Bill Maher joke about how if you're voting for Trump, you're not revolting against plutocracy. You're voting for a plutocrat who's revolting.
The old post office,
Yeah.
budget, ahead of schedule.
And he meant revolting in 2 ways, both as in like he's revolting against the whole intermediary, and he's revolting as in he's disgusting.
times what they're supposed to cost. We buy products for our military, and they come at costs that are so far above what they were supposed to be because we don't have people who know what they're doing. When we look at the budget is bad to a large extent because we have people that have no idea as to what to do and how to buy.
I'm literally tweezing some of my hairs as I watch this because it is just so like,
Able to do
typical.
that for our
Well, we're well behind schedule, so I want to move to our next segment, talking about America's direction, and let's start talking about race. The share of
Oh
Americans
God, quiet.
who are bad in this
Don't
country
do
is
it.
the highest it's been in
Just
50 years.
don't.
Much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police, like we've seen recently in Charlotte and Tulsa. Race has been a big issue in this campaign, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide and bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide? Secretary Clinton, you get 2 minutes on this.
Well, you're right. Race
She's not.
remains a significant challenge in our country. Unfortunately, race still determines too much. Often determines where people live, determines what kind of education in their public schools they can get, and yes, it determines how they're treated in the criminal justice system. We've just seen those two tragic examples in both Tulsa and Charlotte. And we've got to do several things at the same
Thing is, if you're rich, you can get away with rape like Bill Cosby.
Trust between
Otherwise, you're fucked and proven guilty.
Hold on.
to make sure that our police
Or Bill
are
Clinton.
Fuck
using
the police.
the best techniques
Now the police should be abolished.
that I think would begin to remedy some of the problems we have in the criminal justice system.
Or it can just smash the state, seize the means of production, and abolish the police.
That
What? I thought that the answer was to privatize the police. That's what that guy T said it, so it must be true.
No, private police are even worse.
I know,
No.
that's the joke. I said that guy T said it, so it must be true because that guy T's an ANCAP.
out of the people who should not have them. The gun epidemic is the leading cause of death of young Africans.
Oh no, he's gonna take away the police guns.
You're gonna take our guns.
As I said, yeah,
You know, gun control has a long history of racism.
where they
Yeah,
recruit
yeah.
kids,
Gun control also.
and we have to
Yeah,
take
also, whenever someone tries to bring gun control that's not racist,
a lot of the
it
problems.
doesn't get passed until there's some sort of racial element. Like in Texas, they wanted to keep their guns. Then all of a sudden, there were some Muslims in the state, and they're like, "Oh well, we don't want Muslims buying guns, so we're going to put more strict regulations on guns."
Going on in Charlotte, the city I love, the city where I have investments. When I look at what's
So
going
the
on
reason you
throughout
love it.
various parts of our country, whether it's, I mean, I can just keep naming them all day long. We need law and order.
Oh,
Oh, no.
he needs law and order because it's draining his investment. Little bourgeois fuck.
Just came in.
Do you feel threatened by the proletariat?
Me cry.
100%.
Nice.
We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because
Yeah.
They're living in hell because of your business practices.
Both of you responsible.
thousands of shootings.
You're both fucking terrible on that stage.
January 1st.
Both of you have bloody hands.
I'm saying, where is
Not to mention that the police are only meant to actually police the poor and not the
we have to bring back
the rich.
in a place like Chicago where
A
thousands
guy on Wall Street can be doing coke in
Wait,
his office.
what was he saying?
Nothing
Next
happens.
week got what?
have been killed.
He's bringing up
Barack
Chicago.
Obama became president. Almost 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether
Fuck
or not
law and order.
Oh, no.
Anarchy is order.
You know what's funny is that when the law basically when they jailed like a head guy in one of the gangs who was like really strong, basically kept all the gangs in line, keeping a lot of conflict from happening.
strong. And we
When
have
they arrested that guy, that's when all the conflicts between the different gangs in Chicago happened.
cases are afraid
And he wants He's scared because the trolleys are going to destroy his production and take it over. Oh,
Like Ron, you're 2 minutes. You're 2 minutes.
he's a cunt.
Oh, did you guys hear? Did you guys hear that Sargon is now supposedly a Marxist, according to
yeah.
Computing Forever?
Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, I heard
Bad,
that.
Bad Mouse made a good video on
I saw
Sargon.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And our mayor, our new mayor, refused to go forward with the case. They would have wanted to build. If you look at it,
Sargon admitted that he admitted now he knows the difference between personal and private property.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
and that are bad people that shouldn't have them. These are felons. These are people that are bad people that shouldn't be. When you have 3,000 shootings in Chicago from January 1st, when you have 4,000 people killed in Chicago by guns from the beginning of the presidency of Barack Obama, his hometown, you have to have stop and frisk. You need more police.
Oh God.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Fuck no.
You
No.
don't have good community
I'll just lead to
relations
more
in
dead
Chicago.
cops.
How you can have more community good relations if you're going to have cops stop and frisk people?
There's so many different places.
No one wants that.
You
People are
need
gonna
better
start shooting
relationships
cops
like
because they're
we
just
do
gonna get
Secretary Clinton on
because they're
this.
just
You
gonna
need
get
At least so that'll be overturned like it did in New York.
But
It'll
you
probably be overturned within a few weeks.
You need to avoid the stop and frisk programs because the stop and frisk programs simply there's a lot of racial practices such as the idea that if you see a poor black man, you should stop and frisk him. But if you see that rich white man who works on Wall Street or works in some kind of firm, because in Chicago,
Well, I'd
You
rather
don't
throw
have
him in
Wall
the
Street.
gulag.
fucking Ultron. What do you mean by law and order? What the fuck
he
does
means
that?
that
He means-
that TV show.
He means He basically means shut the fuck up, minorities and prolies, or we're gonna put the boot on you and you better shut the fuck up. And you know, Trump, we will not shut the fuck up. We are your worst nightmare. Be warned, both you and Hillary. We will revolt. You will be well, I can't say what I'm gonna do to you, but you're gonna,
Opportunities
when the revolution comes,
Hey,
it's gonna be-
Vegan,
yeah.
just a suggestion, you might not want to say stuff like that on the record because
Yeah,
that can it can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's what I'm not saying I'm not gonna do. I could just sound like I'm just gonna say hello or some shit like that. You know, I'm not gonna say exactly what I'm gonna do.
and in part because it was ineffective. It did not do what it needed to do. Now, I believe in community policing, and in fact, violent crime is
Yeah, the community should police itself.
property crime is down 40%.
Property theft. Oh, she's just saying about how the crime is at a 40-year-old low, or it's 20 or 30 years old. You don't know if that's true.
Some problems, some unintended
Yeah, it's lower than it's been for a while.
African Americans and Latino men ended up in jail for nonviolent offenses, and it's just a fact that if you're a young African American man and you do the same thing as a young white man, you are more likely to be arrested, charged,
Yeah.
convicted, and incarcerated.
Yeah, I mean, if you smoke a little weed and you're a poor black kid,
Justice.
or not even necessarily a kid, but a poor young black man,
Have to say,
you're
Wait.
smoking a little bit of pot and you get caught because, I don't know, some reason the police decide to raid your house, or they stop and frisk you while you have some pot in your pocket,
which have put too many people away.
you're going to get more time than Brock Turner did for
It's
raping
ironic that-
someone.
It's ironic that Hillary's saying that because her husband is one of the person who presided over the largest expansion of the police population.
Fill prison cells with young Americans. So there are
Hillary
System
should
of
be
a
in
Down-
jail.
System of a Down made a great song about
that common sense
about the prison industrial complex, about how it's
that
increased.
right now, and this is something Donald has supported along with the gun lobby. Right now, we've got too many military-style weapons on the streets in a lot of places.
I want those in the street so I can use my proletarian weapons for the revolution.
Need to keep guns
out of the hands of those who will do harm,
Yeah.
and we need to pass.
Oh yeah, we should definitely. Yeah, we should disarm cops, Obama, the whole government.
If you're too dangerous to fly, you are too dangerous to buy a gun. So there are things we can do, and we ought to do
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
Yeah, and
Obama should own a drone.
we should also stop sending people overseas to die for imperialist wars, and we should stop bringing drones over to bomb the fuck out of innocent people so that we, just for our oil cum shot.
Too many of us in our great country.
It was never great. Fact check. It was never great.
Or I think we need all of us to be asking hard questions about, why am I feeling this way? But when it comes to policing, since it can have literally fatal consequences, I have said in my first budget, we would put money into that budget to help us deal with implicit bias by retraining a lot of our police officers.
Yeah, I'm skeptical given that every other police reform done by over decades have failed.
Mental health is one of the biggest concerns because now police are having to handle a lot of really difficult mental health problems on the street. They want support. They want more training. They want more assistance. And
They're still puppets of the bougie.
I feel like they should train the police more in de-escalation tactics than learning how to shoot and kill innocent people.
Or they should just abolish the police. Fuck the police.
Rights to be.
They don't want trade. They want to kill people.
One person is on a.
But which is more realistic to achieve in this society is really just what I'm looking at, not looking at it from a...
By your standard, anarchism isn't very realistic because we can't get there right away, so there. Well, you're an anarchist.
Yeah, I'm saying that, sure, we may not get there right away. That's the ideal. That's what I think will eventually happen.
I do want to bring up the fact that you were the one that brought up the word super predator about young black youth.
Ooh.
But I know that
one.
I know that good mental health training from police has actually helped me in the past.
You brought up super predators.
When it comes to stop and frisk, you're talking about taking.
That was a term that Hillary Clinton made up.
Yeah,
now the Republicans are using it.
No, he's
Super
saying
predators.
that he's saying that Hillary brought that up.
How easy good if the cops see you walking towards, if they see you see a cop walking towards them.
When you look at what Donald Trump is doing, Donald Trump's taking a piss all over black people and telling them to dance in the rain. When he says, "What do you have to lose to them?"
Trump's just saying what comes to his mind. He's got no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Does he know
Well, I don't know if he
Stop
votes
the
for
white vote forever?
alt-right. I'm pretty sure alt-right is not going to treat him very well. Just saying. They don't seem very keen to support blacks.
Also, fair to say, if we're going to talk about mayors, that under the current mayor, crime has continued to drop, including murders. So there is.
You're all.
No, I'm not.
Are up.
All right, you check.
No, Trump is lying.
I get credit.
I'm not sure I
across
know
the
much
board
about that.
going back. Two mayors,
The
two police
pathological liars.
chiefs, because
Yeah.
in other communities,
I think we've done a good job of pointing out like who's right and who's wrong in certain situations. Like
Well, we're trying our
it
best.
is important that we learn about
Donald Trump was right that she called people super predators. I mean, there was a joke where
did not
at the
have.
White House Correspondents' Dinner, Larry Wilmore, he said something, I forget.
But
No,
let's
he said the endorsement of said something about rapper Killer Mike, who endorsed Bernie Sanders early on. He's like
and so
something about he's here Killer Mike, or as Hillary would call him, Super Predator Mike.
communities
I saw that and I just absolutely died laughing because I'm like I get it. He's black.
I'd just like to respond that I've got a call. Look, the African American community has been let down by our politicians. They talk good around election time, like right now. And after the election, they say,
Yes, and they've been treated worse by the Republican politicians than they have by the Democratic politicians, as conservative policies always tend to enforce more police, leading to more policing.
used in order to get votes by Democrat politicians, because that's what it is. They've controlled these communities for up to 100 years.
Well,
and I will tell you, you look at the inner cities, and I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and you've seen me. I've been all over the place. You decided to stay home, and that's okay. But I will tell you, I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet within these communities. Upset what the politicians have done.
I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared.
Donald Trump's rhetoric is on point. If anything, he's good at rhetoric.
Yeah.
Not good at presenting actual policy, but he's good at rhetoric.
He's a sophist.
Did you hear that? Yeah. Did you hear that? Did you hear that T.J. Kirk endorsed him?
Yeah, it's really horrible.
Yeah.
Don't
Dick
call
Coughlin
for
made the
skeptic.
best joke ever. He said they're both. He basically went along the lines of they're both fat fucks who love to just be absolutely rude to women. Isn't it a surprise that he didn't endorse him sooner?
Yeah.
Or that he's like, why are you guys all surprised? I actually responded with, I'm not surprised. I'm just surprised he didn't endorse Trump sooner.
Week, Patty was on Wolf Blitzer saying that this happened. Blumenthal sent McClatchy, highly respected reporter at McClatchy, to Kenya to find out about it. They were pressing it very hard.
Trump likes to use a lot of anecdotal arguments.
Satisfied with it, and I'll tell you why I'm satisfied with it.
Actually, they're not even anecdotes. They're just all made up.
I want to get on to creating
Really?
jobs. Because I want to get on to
I wouldn't be surprised.
because
Why
I
is this
want to
even
get
a
on to
question?
things that are very important to me and that are very
But
important.
that's what I want to know.
I'll let you respond.
How has this even become a question?
The birth certificate was
Also,
produced.
hey, do you guys remember when he hired a black guy to go into his crowd at one of his rallies, and he went, "Look at my beautiful African American over there.
Yeah. It's called identity politics.
Look at that beautiful African American over there. I didn't pay him off at all."
They got him to produce
Yeah.
the birth certificate.
But
And
it's like, I thought he was going to be, look at my beautiful African America. He's got like a nice abdomen, has a good strong chest, can hold things on his shoulders. He can do a lot for you. Like a guy selling slaves.
last week, interview with your former campaign manager, and she was involved. But just like she can't bring back jobs, she can't produce.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to fall back. We'll let you respond to that, because there's a lot there, but we're talking about racial healing in this segment. What do you say to Americans?
Well, it was very, I say nothing. I say nothing because I was able to get him to produce it. He should have produced it a long time before. I say nothing.
Why are you still talking about
When
this?
you talk about him, I
It's
think
like
that
absurd.
I've had good relationships over the last little while with the African American community. I think you can see that. And I feel that they really wanted me to come to that conclusion, and I think I did a great job and a great service, not only for the country, but even for the president, in getting him to produce his birth certificate.
Oh yeah, remember, he's the best Christian ever. Great. Bible. His favorite book ever.
Fuck the Bible.
Clearly, as Donald just admitted,
I know, but that's the way he
Hold
does
on.
it.
Mr. Holt was going to be asking us questions.
My favorite is the
We're trying to
Hungry
get
Caterpillar.
the whole racist birther lie.
Anyway.
But
The whole racist birther lie was started by Hillary, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
She started it in 2008 against Obama to
racist
try
lie
and discredit him.
was not
I
an
never knew
American
that.
citizen. There was absolutely no evidence for it, but he persisted. He persisted year after year because some of his supporters, people that he was trying to bring into his fold, apparently believed it or wanted to believe it. But remember, Donald started his career back in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination
Fact.
because he would not rent apartments in one of his
No wonder
developments.
they used to be such good friends.
Sure, people who work
Yeah,
for
probably not racist.
policy.
My dad was telling a story about how he met some of Trump's employees and they say he was a great guy and and there's like a Mexican and black guy, so he's obviously not racist. And then that shit comes up. Yeah, great job, my dad.
I mean, it's like when people are like, Mike Tyson endorsed Donald Trump. It's like,
Barack Obama.
like, are you trying to really play the identity politics card here with Mike Tyson because he's both black and a Muslim?
That this was being touted
Fuck the
and
muzzies.
When really all Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson is Donald Trump's golf buddy, and that's why he endorsed Donald Trump. He doesn't actually know about Donald Trump's policy, Donald Trump's racism. He's just like, oh yeah, Donald Trump, he's my friend in real life, so I'm going to vote for him.
You know, Stick, Sex, and Hammer is Twister Paytas is supporting Trump.
To watch in preparing for this, some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated
Also, do you guys know who Tom Brady is? He's also supporting Trump.
That name's familiar. Who's that?
He's the quarterback of the Patriots.
Oh, is it that because of that football game, he was the one who actually stand up for the national anthem, and the other guy was standing down?
No, Colin Kaepernick was the guy who kneeled.
Yeah, I know. I was asking that.
tried to act.
I'm not sure if I don't. No, Brady's been suspended for the beginning of the season, so he hasn't been at the game.
What happened with him?
He got suspended last year due to some kind of scandal with his phone that I can't remember.
Oh, football is just bullshit.
But
Anyways.
he supports
It's
Donald
just-
Trump, but he's not really political about it. He's more just like, I guess I support Donald Trump because
I also
he's another one of Donald Trump's golf buddies.
I'm doing you. Maybe I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, and another thing.
When it comes to Kurt Schilling, it's a different story because Kurt Schilling's just an out-and-out bigot.
Well, the issue is that I think football is just a sport to brainwash people. I mean, the military pays for NFL to do pro-patriot demonstration. And it's basically used to distract people like Rome did in their Colosseum, or whatever the hell they call it.
I opened the club.
So, in other words, you're saying that it's a nationalistic
No
sport.
discrimination
It's
against.
not. I don't think the sport itself is nationalistic, but I do think the NFL might
It's a
lean towards the fact that the military actually
I have
helps to fund the NFL. I think that is a big deal. It's like the National Guard supporting the WWE. Like, of course, they're going to act more patriotic on WWE because
The 21st century
National Guard supports them.
in this country, our institutions are under cyber attack. And
Look, I'm eating vegan tacos,
the question is,
avocado and beans.
how do we fight it? Secretary Clinton has answered
Nice.
this.
There we go.
Well, I think cybersecurity, cyber warfare will be one of the biggest challenges facing the next president because clearly we're facing at this point two different kinds of adversaries. There are the independent hacking groups that do it mostly for commercial reasons to try to steal information that they then can use to make money. But increasingly, we are seeing cyber attacks coming from states, organs of states. The most recent and troubling of these has been Russia. There's no doubt now that Russia has used cyber attacks against
Debbie Wasserman Schultz should not play a role in our democratic process,
Donald
but Russia should.
She rigged the system. Well, it's already rigged, so.
Putin is playing a really tough, long game here.
The problem is that the whole system has been
Let
rigged.
loose,
Was
cyber-
rigged before the election even started. It wasn't
Yeah.
just rigged by Hillary, out of nowhere. The system has been rigged since it's been in place.
Yeah, that's true. That's weird.
preferred methods of trying to wreak havoc and collect information. We need to make it very clear, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, or anybody else. The United States has,
He's
Do
gonna-
you guys know that Penn Jillette tried to claim that Donald Trump is proof that Citizens United did not destroy our democratic process?
Wow.
Fuck it. Him and Nick Gillespie in the circle jerk. I mean, but I'm a fan of.
We never
I am a
had
fan
a
of-
democracy. Our system was bought and sold since day one. So now it's big news.
But he tried to claim that it didn't ruin. Well, he was trying to claim that it didn't make it. It didn't rig elections in any way. He's like, because
How far would we
he
go?
came to the conclusion of if it did rig the system in any way, that automatically you would have had Clinton versus Bush. Like, well, no, Bush was just a really bad campaigner and couldn't even
50
be
national
mundane enough.
officials who served in
And
republic.
the Republican National Committee tried so hard to scramble for someone to beat Trump.
Like that.
Oh yeah,
Never found-
I gotta go to the restroom. I'll be right back. All right, everybody.
Okay, no problem.
But the Democratic National Committee always had, like, they backed the person that was going to win from the start. So it was really just a hint of luck, because Trump just happened to go in there strong enough, and the presumptive nominee from the beginning, Jeb Bush, was just so weak in running an election, like even weaker than his brother when it comes to running an election.
Please.
That he ended up failing, and then they scrambled to try and figure out which Republican they were going to back.
Rubio, didn't they? And then Rubio fucked. And the old
Rubio, and then Kasich fucked, and then, yeah, it was just kind of like, everyone, Sheldon Adelson's like, okay, let's put it all on Trump.
That's
Let's
it.
go for Trump.
A lot of the neocons are going over to Clinton, you know.
It could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay? You don't know who broke in.
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of what, and the fact that Hillary managed to be just mediocre enough to beat Sanders helped her out. And two of the guys dropped out from the beginning, so it's like, even if Hillary had dropped out, they could have put all their money on O'Malley. Of course, O'Malley did so poorly at the beginning that he was the one who dropped out, and it's like, well, the only one we have to back is Hillary. We can't back Sanders until Hillary's out, because Sanders is our worst nightmare compared to Hillary. So it was like,
Clinton and myself would agree very much when you look at what ISIS is doing with the internet.
the fact that the
We're
ever more
talking about ISIS recruiting people on the internet, and I feel like that's a slippery slope, because eventually they're going to use that on us to stop people from becoming anarchists
10 years old.
if the revolution heats up.
That is true. They would do that.
The security aspect of cyber is
I feel like, if anything, like if they were trying to collect intelligence on ISIS, on these ISIS sites, they should look at the ISIS sites and spy on the ISIS sites they find.
we have so
Like,
many-
and I mean when they're legitimate ISIS sites, not just like if they were actually trying to get information from these people.
Well, and
I mean, when they post on a site that we're going to bomb this place,
Going after them online. I think
you look at that, you decide, okay, we're going to evacuate that building they planted the bomb in, and
ISIS set
bomb goes off, building is destroyed, no one's hurt, and
to radicalize
oops, we thwarted an attack because you said we were going to go to this area, blah, blah, blah.
our air strikes against ISIS and eventually support our Arab and Kurdish partners to be
well, I support Rojava. I don't agree
Rojava.
with everything, man. Almost the things I do. There's a few disagreements, few critiques I have.
and we're hoping that
We mostly agree, like 98%, 95.
really
Yeah.
Syria. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that they've had foreign fighters coming to volunteer for them, foreign money, foreign weapons. So we have to make this
Even weapons that were there because you voted for the Iraq War, and because the U.S. eventually had to withdraw because of money reasons, they left them there. And
of course
yeah,
Well, not to mention that
blood
they
in your
ship-
house, Hillary.
as
But
well.
she still
Make them
continues
one
to
of our
deal
worst
arms to
principles
terrorist
because
states, Saudi
we want to
Arabia.
defeat ISIS, and
You
we've
know
got
what I
to
mean.
do
Which is perpetuating ISIS ideology.
Pretty much.
efforts online.
Didn't you mention ISIS, and we think of ISIS?
Saudi doesn't even attack ISIS. I mean, that's how We're supposed to be they're supposed to be our allies. If they're not attacking ISIS, maybe because they're not as aligned with us as
They're not our allies. They're just using us.
I know.
Yep.
Just like
I know
Israel's using us so they can carry out their genocide.
Hey, we are to Saudi Arabia what the white supremacists are to Thunderfoot. Useful idiot.
ISIS. We will take out ISIS. Well, President Obama and Secretary Clinton
What a
created a
conservative.
way they got out of Iraq. Because they got out front. They shouldn't have been in, but once they got in, the way they got out was a
Hillary's a
disaster.
libtard.
So you want to stay in it?
Taking them out. She's been doing it a long time. She's been
So
trying
you want to
take
stay
them
in
out for a long time.
stay in Iraq forever? Because if you leave, it's gonna happen, bitch.
If they left,
Come on, let's stay in Iraq.
Oh wait, they're covering homegrown terrorist attacks. Oh, you mean like the ALF? No, thank you. I think there should be more ALF people. Now for ISIS, they should be stopped. But if they're ALF, let them continue.
because the oil was their primary
ALF on terrorists. ARM.
And now they have the oil.
Well, not to
Well,
mention,
yeah.
like, when it comes to, like, the sovereign citizens and stuff, like,
Definitely, it should be stopped.
Well, I hope the fact checkers are turning up the volume and really working
I
hard.
think we should like, if the government's going to aim at anyone, they should aim their forces at people who are hurting innocent people.
Advocated for
Well, the problem is when you give the state more power to enforce anti-terrorism law, eventually they're going to use that against people like me. Or
I'm not
you.
saying give them more power to do it. I'm saying with the power they already have to do it.
troops would leave Iraq.
Much rather than focusing on people who never hurt anything. If they're going to focus it on anyone, they should focus it on people who
Then Iraqi government
who are hurting people already.
and the Iraqi government would not give that.
I raise my hand.
About the question you asked, Lester. The question you asked is, what do we do here in the United States? That's the most important part of this. How do we prevent attacks? How do we protect our people? And I think we've got to have an intelligent search where we are looking for every scrap of information. I was so proud of law enforcement in New York,
Fuck the law enforcement.
in New Jersey. You know, they responded so quickly, so professionally.
Disregard authority. Fuck the law.
By Rahami.
I'm not going to do my death metal growl for that part, even though that's actually what the song does.
Which makes
What? Who will win the presidential debate? The blonde shithead or the blonde fucktard? Well, fucktard is a little bit ableist, fucker.
that means we got to work more closely with our allies. And that's something that Donald has been
Good
very
question.
dismissive of.
Melted candle wax face or blonde lady? Who do you think wins?
We turn our attention to terrorism. We're working with our friends in the Middle East, many of which, as you know,
So far, I
Muslim majority
don't think
nations.
Clinton's been doing
Donald
too
has
bad.
consistently
I don't think.
Muslims abroad.
I think she's doing.
Muslim majority nations like Saudi Arabia, who's actually perpetuating ISIS ideology, so lots of them.
I mean, if anything, like if you're looking for a country to help in the fight against, if you're looking for a country to help in the fight against ISIS, look at a country. Look at Syria for one is a Ba'athist country, which is against, which is
Rojava.
Ba'athism. Well, Rojava too, but yeah, Syria in itself is already anti-ISIS. Also, so is Iran because Iran is a Shia state. I mean, look at the.
So Sunnis are the ones who do most of the terrorist attacks. Shias don't really do very much at all, if anything.
Well, Sunni. Also, even then, when it comes to Sunnis, Ba'athists are Sunni, or at least the Ba'athists are a mix of Sunni and Shia, and they tend to be a bit more secular in their law and tend to be less guided by religious law. Yes, it is a dictatorship, but they tend not to like fundamentalism.
Can we just listen
Which
to the
means they
debate?
could be.
Many of them think they're fiction. Number two, and that bothers me because we should be, as we're defending them, and they should at least be paying us what they're supposed to be paying by treaty and contract. And number two, I said it very strongly, NATO could be obsolete because, and I was very strong on this, and it was actually covered very accurately in the New York Times, which is unusual for the New York Times, to be honest. But I said, they do not focus on terror.
201 subscribers.
I said it numerous times, and about 4 months ago, I read on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that NATO is opening up a major terror division, and I think that's great. And I think we should get, because we pay approximately 73% of the cost of NATO. It's a lot of money to protect other
We
people.
should cut the military. We have too much military spending.
Terror also.
Yeah, it's like 50. It's 54% of our current
I was saying,
Discretionary spending.
discretion. Yeah. Well, no, that wasn't the word I forgot. I was going to say it's currently 54.
and we have to knock the hell out of ISIS, and we have to do it fast. When ISIS formed,
We're gonna bomb the shit out of ISIS.
Barack Obama,
ISIS are shrinking.
Hillary Clinton,
They're being.
Yeah, they're losing. Yeah, Rojava's kicking their ass, but
They're getting more desperate, so they're doing more terrorist attacks.
I can't believe it. They said, no, wait a minute. When they
Appeal to terrorism, appeal to right wing. That's the Trump strategy.
it should have never happened.
this base probably has a lot of domestic terrorists in it.
Our Secretary of State, when it was a little
Yeah.
now it's in over 30 countries.
Do you guys know the old right wing line about how not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims?
For the invasion.
That line is kind of true when it comes to the media because all the reported terrorists are Muslims. But the problem is that they actually do record other types of terrorism in the government. Like even the government classifies it as terrorism when it comes from white Christians, and this is actually the majority of terrorism. But it's not called terrorism by the media.
Did an interview with Howard Stern, very likely, first time anyone's asked me that. I
When a
said,
Christian does it, it's not terrorism.
Well, it's
When a
because they
Muslim
don't want to
does it,
piss
it's
off the
terrorism.
Christian rights. That's the thing.
with Neil Cavuto, who talked about the economy is more important. I then spoke to Sean Hannity, which everybody refuses to call Sean Hannity. I had numerous conversations with Sean Hannity.
Sean Hannity. Oh, that guy. Everybody's a listen now.
Sean Hannity. Oh, that's hilarious. Because Sean Hannity, we all know, is a very accurate and impartial source.
He's willing to
He's
say
a
Totally not
political
all-
hack.
I was against
Oh,
He's a
oh,
fucking
definitely.
shill. He's a Fox News shill.
And I understand that side also not very much.
That guy, the only reason so many people know who he is because of his time slot.
Shortly
Yeah,
after the
pretty
war
much.
started,
Because there was people who didn't shut off their TV after, I forget what, I think it's after Fox and Friends.
you were-
I wouldn't
Bill
know.
O'Reilly.
whether it was before or
No,
right
it's not after Bill O'Reilly. It's always, it's,
Well, when I watched it was, but they probably changed it since that was like years ago.
before the
well, you know,
war
Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity hate each other, right?
Yeah.
Because Sean Hannity's farther to the right than Bill O'Reilly.
and that's exactly what it's done. It's been
Sean Hannity's is basically a wingnut who's a lunatic. Well, sorry, lunatic is ableist. It's offensive to like people who are actually have mental disorders. Sean Hannity is shit.
Let me tell you, he spent hundreds of millions of dollars on an
Sean Hannity
advertising
is mental.
to a room that
Don't
couldn't
say
handle-
that's ableist.
I think my strongest asset, maybe by
But
far,
it's the nicest ableist term I could think of.
Yeah.
he does not have a wait. The
Because
air
it doesn't sound as strong as crazy.
behind the blue screen
It doesn't sound as mean-spirited.
Can we just listen to this?
was
Yeah.
told. I said, there's a person with a temperament that's got a problem.
Secretary Clinton.
Okay.
Who is this?
Let's talk about two important issues that were briefly mentioned by Donald. First, NATO. You know, NATO as a military alliance has something called Article 5, and basically it says this: an attack on one is an attack on all. But you know, the only time it's ever been invoked after 9/11, when the 28 nations of NATO said that they would go to
NATO,
Afghanistan.
the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization.
Correct.
Something that they still are doing.
I'd vote to
by
withdraw
our
in a
side.
heartbeat.
With respect to Iran, when I became Secretary of State, Iran was weeks away from having enough nuclear material to form a bomb. They had mastered the nuclear fuel cycle under the Bush administration. They had built covert facilities.
Well, no thanks to you, Hillary. And also, why do you have to tell Iran to not have nukes? Shouldn't you just stop them trying to take over that country and overthrow it?
I don't think anyone should have nukes. I think America should just dump all its nukes.
We should have like
Disarm
no
all their
nukes in this
nukes.
world. Yeah.
And we did drive
The
that
thing is with
to
nukes
the
is
negotiating table.
they act as this
And
sort of
my
peace
successor, John
treaty.
Kerry, and President
You
Obama.
know,
I don't think it's worth
Except
it.
when they don't, and we launch them at someone who pisses us off.
oh, before India and Pakistan got nukes, they were fighting all the time. After that, all that happens is small skirmishes on the
But it's
border.
a much weaker peace.
In the water,
It's an easier peace to break than if legitimate fighting happens.
if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water and start another war. That would not good judgment. That is not the right temperament to be commander.
Well, both of you are warmongers. Hillary is endorsed by many Republican neocons, and Trump has been. What was Trump? Oh yeah, Trump has been advised by neocons.
Nuclear weapons. Japan, South
Well,
Korea.
Trump basically has only attracted the farther right. When it comes to the more, the closer to center Republicans, which are farther and fewer between them than they used to be, they all endorse Hillary.
Well,
Except for Mitt Romney, who said he was going to run on his own, maybe.
in fact,
And he's not voting for either of them.
Serial loser.
so deeply troubled
Even the Bushes endorsed Hillary. That's how.
in the world, and it becomes particularly
Does Trump know he can't coast off of the white vote like he used to be able to? Like,
Well, actually, a third of Latinos from some polls like some solid support Trump, which is higher than who supported
these.
Mitt Romney.
Oh, yeah. But these,
Listen,
Yeah.
it's a good
the specific Hispanics who support Trump tend to tend to be Cuban generally. As you have less Mexican and Puerto Rican, although you might have some Puerto Rican Republicans, but you don't really have a lot of Mexicans who support Trump.
Yeah, well, my dad kind of likes Trump.
Just to
He's
go down
from
the list,
Mexico, but he can't vote, so good news for
But
him.
your father can't vote.
they do not pay us, but they should be paid.
But the problem is my mom and my aunt Carrie used to be a Hillary supporter, but she switched to Trump. My grandma on my mom's side all support Trump.
Well, I said that it's very possible that if they don't pay a fair share, because this isn't 40 years ago where we could do what we're doing. We can't defend Japan, a behemoth, selling us cars by the minute.
We need to move on.
Right, but it's very important. All I said was they may have to defend themselves or they have to help us out.
Trust me, they can defend themselves. There's a fucking righteous movement in Japan.
As far as the nuclear is concerned,
Yeah.
the single
Unfortunately.
Oh,
greatest
did you know that I think it was the 1980s, there was a socialist who was running in Japan.
Nuclear weapons
Basically, I think it might have been a right-wing a right-wing nut job
the current policy.
who basically decided that he was going to go up on stage and run the guy through with a katana. Well, he did. The guy was very popular, but the guy ended up dying right there because he was run through with a katana.
What?
we have
Like,
not
that's the crazy shit that happens to people who run as socialists in very far right-wing countries. In left-wing countries, when right-wing people run, like conservatives don't get run through with
first right. I think
katanas. Well, I mean, to be fair, in Japan, that's the only place where they really run,
we have to.
where they have katanas to run people through with,
If you look at
at
some
least culturally.
We don't. We have to hear what he says about the first use nuke policy.
China is going to North Korea. China is totally powerful as it relates to North Korea. And by the way, another one powerful is the worst deal I think I've ever seen negotiated that you started is the Iran deal. Iran is one of their biggest trading partners. Iran has power over North Korea. But they made that horrible deal with Iran. They should have included the fact that they do something with respect to North Korea.
Imagine Jason Unruh right now.
Do a deal with North Korea.
Jason Unruh's like, shut the fuck up about North Korea. You're not allowed to criticize it. It's bourgeois propaganda.
Big giveaways.
Coming from a literal bourgeois, fuck.
$400 million.
Well, he wouldn't be wrong saying that Donald Trump's a bourgeois prick, but to say that when anarchists criticize the DPRK that it's all of a sudden bourgeois propaganda.
It certainly looks
It's
that
like
way.
any criticism of Jason Unruh is considered to be by tankies bourgeois propaganda.
He's the tanky in chief on YouTube.
The deal with Iran to nuclear problems. All they have to do is sit back 10 years, and they don't have to do much, and they're going to end up getting nuclear. I met with Bibi Netanyahu the other day. Believe me, he's not a happy camper.
Fuck, I do not want to see a relationship between Donald Trump and Netanyahu.
Netanyahu is just genocidal maniac.
Yeah, I know. What?
Our president.
Still doing illegal settlements in fucking Palestine? Great.
In Japan and South Korea and elsewhere.
No, I'm not saying that,
That's treaties.
I'm not saying Hamas is, like,
Essential.
Hamas is an extreme group, the group that's, like, killing people in ISIS and trying to not ISIS, in,
Many leaders across the globe.
Israel.
But I want to, on behalf of myself, and I think on behalf of the majority of the American people, say that, our word is good. It's
Both
also
Palestine and Israel right now have right-wing governments that want to continue fighting.
we have other problems with Iran, but personally I'd rather deal with the other problems having put that lid on their nuclear program than still to be facing that. And Donald never tells you what he would do. Would he have started a war? Would he have bombed Iran? If he's going to criticize
You would have bombed the shit out of ISIS. Weren't you at that rally, Hillary?
giving us Iranian facilities that we never had before, then he should tell us what his alternative would be. But it's like his plan to defeat ISIS. He says it's a secret plan, but the only secret is that he has no plan.
He has no fucking plan.
And how we talk about these issues, people around the world follow our presidential campaigns so closely, trying to get hints about what we will do. Can they rely on us? Are we going to lead the world with strength and in accordance with our values? That's what I
Oh,
intend
it's a neocon.
to be. A
Neocon
leader
phrasing.
people can count on, both here at home and around the world, to make decisions that will further peace and prosperity, but also stand up to
To
bullies
being a war hawk.
water at home,
We mean bullies like America?
stabilize the world, to interfere with American interests and security, to be given any opportunities
See,
at all.
American interest in security. American interest. So basically, if there's a revolution happening in countries around the world and anarchists, it will threaten American interests, so they would invade and bomb us. She said American interest. So she's obviously an imperialist.
Places, more and more states, more and more nations.
Mr. Trump, take
So is Trump, to be fair.
Yeah, they both are. That's nothing new.
But
He wants to take the oil.
billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, I think he literally said we should have stolen the oil from Iraq. What a fucking shitty thing to say.
He doesn't say that because she's got no business ability. We need heart, we need a lot of things, but you have to have some basic ability. And sadly,
Business ability like you?
talking about could have been taken care of during the last 10
Yeah,
years.
UFC 4 times.
Disability.
Power, but they weren't taken care of. And if she
Ableist.
race.
Sorry.
They won't be
Mr.
taken.
Trump, this
Not
year,
sorry.
Secretary Clinton became the first woman
That's
nominated for
JW.
president by a major party earlier this
Well,
month.
actually, we're both Aspie, so we can be ableist. We have a little bit more room than
Like, what?
not disabled.
Hey, all three. That's all three of us.
I said,
Oh yeah,
yes,
in my stream that I did that was about bearing, there was someone who at one point they were trolling the chat, and like all the Bearing fans were trolling the chat, and they're like, American anarchists are retard.
you have to be
Harassed, I was like, just come at me, bro.
Can you hear it?
That's right. With Japan, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, can you imagine we're defending Saudi Arabia and with all of
With
the
China.
they're not paying. All you have to do is speak to them. Wait, you have so many different things you have to be able to do, and I don't believe
Build a giant wall.
Let's let her respond.
Well, as soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
the world. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, by the way, everybody, this is Hillary's body double. She's a really good double.
We have
Yeah.
deals. Don't know.
And anyone who doesn't know
Yeah,
that's
you're-
a joke, you're dumb.
Yeah, I know. Can you hear?
Well, I know you and Com know, but
Deal that you're so
people who are watching who think it's a joke, just
dollars back.
or who don't think it's a joke.
Deal, whether it's anything you can name, you almost can't name a good deal. I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years of that kind of experience.
That is true. It is bad experience.
One thing, Lester,
Thank
is,
you,
you know,
Like she has experience with Libya and Honduras making it a shit country.
slobs and dogs, and someone who
Yeah, we're
has
gonna get more banana wars.
Hold on. He's talking like Trump's misogyny. She is.
deserve equal pay unless they do as good a job as men. And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests, supporting them and hanging around them. And he called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina.
Oh,
Donald
God.
J. Her name is Alicia Machado,
Where did you find
and she has become
Definitely not a racist or sexist prick.
vote for this Nobel.
Okay, good.
Well, even having a pageant is arguably sexist itself.
It's hitting me with tremendous commercials.
I'd say it is.
Yeah, it is.
I said, somebody who's been very vicious to me, Rosie O'Donnell, I said very tough things to her, and I think everybody would agree that she deserves it, and nobody
My
feels sorry.
language.
I was going to say something extremely rough to Hillary, to her family, and I said to myself, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's inappropriate. It's not nice. But she spent hundreds of millions of dollars,
Mutualist freedom fighter.
many of which are absolutely untrue. They're untrue and they're misrepresentations. And I will tell you this, Lester, it's not nice, and I don't deserve that. But it's certainly not a nice thing that she's done. It's hundreds of millions of ads, and the only gratifying thing is I saw the polls come in today, and with all of that money, over $200 million is spent, and I'm either winning or tied, and I've spent practically nothing.
One of you will not win this election. So my final question to you tonight, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters, Secretary Clinton?
Well, I support our democracy. And sometimes you win,
No,
sometimes
you don't. No, you don't. Neither one of you do.
will support the
Our
outcome
democracy
of this
we
election.
support ruthless
And
capitalism.
I know Donald's trying very hard to
Capitalism and democracy are irreconcilable unless you're talking about representative bourgeois democracy.
us so much as it is about you and your families and the kind of country and future you want. So I sure hope you will
I
get out.
mean, have you guys seen Zizek's
I think
video
it does.
about? Or he did a thing with Big Think about how democracy and
America
capitalism were due to divorce.
So, Bobby.
We're losing our job, pouring in.
Hello, Mutualist Freedom Fighter 3.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a live stream. We're live streaming the debate. We're reacting to it.
But perhaps, worse than that, it was corruption. But these people that we were going to deport for good reason ended up becoming citizens. And it was 800, and now it turns out it might be 1,800, and they don't even know. Look, here's the story. I want to make America great again.
No, you don't.
To be able to do it.
You want to make America white again.
Yeah.
Absolutely support.
It's like what Scott Baio said with the Make America America again. It's like, it's very coded, almost clever racism when you look at it.
Yeah, and
It's code for get these Mexicans and blacks out of here. That's what that means.
Yeah, deport half my family.
mhm.
Well, actually, half my family, half Mexican, half are illegal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's also
We should abolish borders.
also made a lot of very stereotypical comments about Jews.
Oh, well, that was it.
All right, let's talk about how both of them suck and what our thoughts are in his debate.
All right, let's just.
What,
Yeah,
we
but
weren't rambling about our thoughts the whole time?
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Bobby was late to the game.
Yeah,
All right, so
but I was watching the debate on TV in the
Right,
other room, though.
You know what's funny is I was going to watch the debate and then I saw, live streamed and the vegan anarchists react to it. And I'm like, okay, I'd rather watch it. And then I'm like, actually, I should ask if I can go on, like if they can send me a link to it or whatever.
Of course we would. I mean, we invited you to the room already.
Yeah.
I think I added you to the room. Anyway, that was fucking awesome. I mean,
Yeah, well,
Hillary pretty much killed Trump. I mean, I don't support either of them,
fuck
but
both of them. Yeah.
yeah.
all right, who do you
I mean, Trump's rhetoric was on point. Like when it comes to his rhetoric, like he knows how to appeal to his right-wing base. The problem is that there's not enough people that are that far right. There's like Trump. I don't think Trump has a big enough base that he can just appeal to his base. I think he has to appeal to people outside of his base to win the election.
Well, the problem with that is that Hillary is pissing off her base by basically. Well, I don't like her, but Hillary's pissing off her base by sticking a finger at Sanders supporter and then running to recruit moderate Republicans. And so she's pissing off her base to go after people who would never vote for her anyways.
Exactly. That's what she
But-
I mean, some
Well,
of
it
the
doesn't
moderate
matter 'cause they both
Republicans are
suck,
voting
so.
for her, but most of them aren't.
Anyway, let's all vote on it. Who do you think won, Hillary or Trump? Who do you
Hillary.
think? Yeah, I vote Hillary as well.
Or, I don't call her Hillary, I call her Shillery.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary. Trump.
Oh, you think Trump?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
All right, you thought he won the debate.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, he seems to do very well when Hillary attacks him. Like he's good at bullshitting his way out of attacks.
True that, I agree. Definitely.
Although Hillary did a better job than I expected her to of calling Donald Trump on his bullshit when he tried to bullshit his way out a couple of times.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Hillary was gonna like pass out in the middle of the debate or some shit like that, but I'm surprised it didn't happen.
Why? Because of the pneumonia she had?
Yeah.
I don't buy his pneumonia. I'm skeptical of that claim. I don't buy it.
She was actually hospitalized. I mean, I found it funny when I made the joke about the body double because I was obviously kidding. But yeah, it was like, I mean, I found it funny. Someone's like, "Oh, this isn't Hillary Clinton. This is her body double." I was looking at it. It was a picture of Owen Wilson. I'm like, "That's a picture of Owen Wilson. That's not Hillary Clinton's body double." And Hillary Clinton doesn't have a body double.
There's a conspiracy that Paul McCarthy has his body double.
Yep, I know. It's a conspiracy theory that he has a body double that all originates from the whole Abbey Road album.
Indeed. Indeed.
So give us your thoughts since you weren't here most of the time, Mutualist Freedom Fighter 3.
Yeah, you were watching the debate in the other room, weren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Really should have joined in the fun. Anyway, what did you think, Bob?
Like, I thought that, like, I thought that Trump was much weaker than he has been in past debates.
Yeah.
I also thought that Hillary, like, the thing about Hillary, yes, it's true that she does have a record of dishonesty, and she does have the email scandal.
So does Trump. Well, Trump doesn't have the email scandal, but he has the record of dishonesty.
Yeah.
And screwing people over. And then
Yep.
Hillary has a history of like invading countries and being basically a warmonger. And Trump isn't much better, although he does flip flop on that. So, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't take his flip flop seriously because a lot of his advisors are neocons. So I wouldn't take that seriously. Although Hillary is supported by a lot of neocons too. So they're both
Yeah.
warmongers.
Yeah,
Did you
and
hear what-
also Hillary has made some very like classist jokes early in her campaign against union members and Walmart workers protesting against anti-worker policies.
Well, that's because Hillary used to be on the board of Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that.
Very interesting.
So basically, she's too would have bourgeois past. So they're both to one degree or another. Trump is like 100% bourgeois. Hillary had a bourgeois position on the board of directors. So other than that, she's corrupt-ass politician.
They're both
Yeah.
100% bourgeois, mate.
The both
But chances
stated.
are, considering the fact that she is a Democrat, she's probably going to be slightly more left-wing than Trump.
I
Or
think.
slightly less right-wing, I should say.
Well, the thing about Hillary is that she's basically a Republican who's pretending. She's almost like a Republican who's pretending to be a Democrat. She's a what do you call a dino?
Well, the
although-
Democrats are becoming far more, or are drifting farther to the right as the Republican Party does the same.
Oh yeah, and I
That's the
also
thing is Hillary.
That's what tends to happen when people get into positions of power in general. Like the thing is,
also
when people get into positions of power, they want to maintain their power, and so real change, they can talk about it and bloviate about it all they want, but that's the last thing they actually want to happen. And so that's why they put policies into effect that prevent real change from occurring and prevent revolutionary action from, or at least make it very difficult for revolutionary action to be carried out.
Also, there was something a disturbing trend I found. It's what I learned is that rich people are now preferring Democrats over Republican, and that hasn't happened since Bill Clinton, ironically her husband.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Hillary's a cuck because her husband cheats on her and she knows about it. So by that definition, she's a cuck.
I'll tell you, do not have sexual relations with that woman.
Bullshit.
I did not.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, she.
Oh, remember,
I
OJ did
think
not kill his wife.
I think she's to the right of Obama, to be honest.
Yeah, and Obama's pretty.
Quite honestly, I think she'll be Bill Clinton 2.0.
And Obama's center-right at best by European standards.
Also, yeah, but why are rich people flocking to Democratic parties? Is it because people like Hillary who are dinos?
Well, they're afraid that
Well, I think it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that
Trump is such a bigot.
Okay. Enough cross-talking. Like the Republican Party in recent years has become a little less white supremacist. Trump's revived that sentiment somewhat.
Right.
But like the Republican Party now is becoming less white supremacist, and there is a very large demographic of the Democratic Party that is now basically resisting progressivism.
Yeah.
Not just what is perceived as a socialist takeover of progressivism, even though
yeah, so like poor people are gonna vote for Trump, and then rich people are gonna vote for Hillary. Like it's basically switched. Like it's like we have a new realignment.
mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird that there's like a realignment?
Well, I mean, I'm poor, but I'm definitely not voting for Trump. Like, if I was forced to vote, I'd vote for Hillary.
If I was forced to vote, you vote for Jill Stein or my friend who's running for president. Well, person I protested with, Mary Scully. But other than that, I'm not gonna vote unless I have to, and I don't have to, so I'm not gonna vote.
If I'm forced to vote, I'd vote there. I'm just writing the Uniball.
I'm probably not gonna vote, but I say vote Trump.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote. This is a public
impersonating there.
Yeah, T.J. Kirk, the asshole atheist. He tells people to vote for Trump. Yeah, a public service announcement. I want all of you.
The only reason T.J. is telling people to vote for Trump is because, like, he actually hates Trump, but he hates Hillary more.
Yeah, because he hates women.
Exactly.
TJ hates women so much he'd rather vote for a racist and a misogynist. Of course, misogynist isn't a negative in TJ's book because, well, that's what TJ is in his own book.
Yeah, even though he constantly denies it and claims to be a gender egalitarian, like so many fucking YouTube misogynists do.
Right.
Well, a public service announcement. I encourage my audience to boycott the election and just organize and do activism on the streets. Don't let politicians decide for you. Boycott election 2016. No gods, no masters.
Yes.
No meat, no milk, no masters.
The thing about boycotting is kind of like it's not like it's still kind of an acquiescence to the system.
It gives notoriety to the system itself. If you just stay home and you don't actively boycott, where if you stay home and just don't vote, that's a lot better than like standing outside holding signs saying, like, trying to keep people from voting in general, because you're more people to vote because people are like, oh, these people don't want me to vote, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna vote because people are dickheads like that.
Yeah, that's true, but I would encourage all of you to just stay home and don't vote. Fuck the candidates. power must be rested among us. We must organize. And also, Operation Anarchism, because we're in Operation Anarchism, support Operation Anarchism because we're the cutting edge organization, or will soon be. Trust us. Because we're all members.
Tremendous.
Yeah, Operation Anarchism is tremendous. There's also a YouTube channel. I want you to check
Huge. It's huge.
Yeah. Anyways, we want to sign out, everybody?
All right, ready for it?
I'll be the last one to sign out.
All right, you do that then.
After I sign it, it's
wait.
all over. All right.
Wait, are you just going to turn it? You can't just turn off the live part?
I'm just going to stop the broadcast, but we're still going to be on the air.
All right.
This has been Bumping King.
All right, are you stopping the broadcast?
3. Liberty, equality, fraternity, viva la perdón.
And come.
No, I don't care. Just yeah.
All right. American Anarchists.
This has been the American Anarchist. Watch my debate tomorrow with War Corps. It's going to be hilarious.
This is the Vegan Anarchist. No meat, no milk, no masters. See ya!